Beginning of June 2021. You are watching our logo for our network, the New Orleans TV Internet Network System. As you know, we broadcast live from New Orleans out to the world. We have 15 categories of programming. As you know, all of our programs are live on multiple platforms. You can watch them live on Facebook under my name, Bob Bockelman, on the New Orleans Television Internet Network, and also under the New Deal, as well as we welcome the Rtist Facebook viewers, because they're going to be seeing it directly on his Facebook, so his followers won't even have to go beyond his page if they desire so. Again, our shows will be live for 1 hour, and then we will move forward. So we're giving you chances to sign on. Remember, also, it's important, two things. One, if you have any comments, you can make those comments on the network that you're watching, on the platform, and it'll show up here on all of our stats, and we'll actually bring it on the screen and answer any question if it's a question that is relevant for the artist to speak. And because I'm giving it away, you're getting a clue as to what the show is, but you'll see that when we go to our logo after the station network dissolves after the 5 minutes. So if you have a comment to make, we will pick it up and show it and ask if it's a question, ask the question, and hopefully we can answer it. Also, let's see what else we would say. If you have any person or yourself that would like to appear on our show to showcase your talent, your work, your services, please contact me at Bob Bockelman on Facebook or an email, any place you can with regard to. We'll be happy to discuss with you. It's absolutely free. There's no, not a lost leader. There's nothing like that. So don't be afraid. No, it's bait and switch. This is strictly free underwriting for you to get your word out to your community as well as beyond. Again, we apologize. We haven't been on for a while. Things are still not building up post-COVID. We would love to have more. The more we get, the more we can broadcast to you. We are looking at expanding and doing some additional things with another network. Okay, get ready to go because it looks like we're just about right under 2 minutes. So we'll be doing some shows jointly with another network, simulcast to theirs as well. So that should be fun and interesting. We're working on that behind the scenes now. So stay tuned for the countdown clock to finish. After that, our show will begin. So again, you're watching the New Orleans TV Internet Network System. I'm Bob Bockelman, the founder and host of most of the shows. Minute and a half. We'll give you a little bit of silence to get ready. And don't forget to post any comments that you like. All right. One minute and counting. The New Orleans Television Internet Network System getting ready to present a live program in 35 seconds. Stay tuned. Tell your friends. Watch it on any of the platforms that we broadcast with. And if you can't watch it live, remember, go to my YouTube channel, R_Revue. Please subscribe, and you can watch any of the 15 programs all the way back that we've archived for you to see, as well as this current one. So it's easy to watch a replay if you're not there watching it tonight. We're broadcasting at 7 o'clock Central Time and 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Good evening. Welcome to Rtist Revue. There's our signature logo, and I'm your host with the logo behind me. representing, as you know, the wonderful palette of Artist Revue. And remember, our artists extend way beyond just artists who are painters. Tonight, we're fortunate to have beyond that as well as that. That's a kind of a dual function. We have a gentleman who's on, I believe, from Pennsylvania, and he does both what we calling landscape sculpturing as well as typical painting or sketching of art. We'll talk about it in detail. We're going to see both aspects of his talent. We had a local friend of ours, artist Renee Dene, on from New Orleans a few months ago. You remember he sculpted by using things that normally we wouldn't think of as a sculpture. That is using not fragments, but the casings, and creating some not only magnificent sculptures, but also functional utensils, excuse me. So this is somewhat similar where you're going to see beauty, but it's also going to be functional items that can be used in your, mainly outside of your house, or strictly decorative. But let's stop that hooligan. Let's go ahead and bring the gentleman on. There he is. His name is Devine. Welcome. I said Dan. Sorry, Devin Devine. That's an easy one to mess up for me. Good evening. How we doing?
We're good, Bob. How are you doing?
Great. Now, was I correct in saying you're from Pennsylvania or living in Pennsylvania now, or was I wrong?
I am from Pennsylvania, and I'm living here currently as well.
Good. Okay. Well, my old mind gets it really messed up. So pardon if I did. So I'm glad I got it right this time. So tell us a little bit about yourself besides living in Pennsylvania. Anything else you want to tell us about either where you lived or anything about yourself that make the audience feel a little comfortable before we start seeing what you're really talented in?
Sure. I grew up outside of Philadelphia.
Okay.
Spent a lot of time in nature, exploring the woods, exploring creeks around my house, and interacting with nature like that. I started my contracting business doing hardscaping and landscapes in 2007.
Okay.
A few years after that, I moved to the Poconos, which is northeast
Nice.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, we know about those.
Yeah, so it is nice. So I'm surrounded by mountains and rivers and all that.
So I guess I usually ask the artist or the chef, where did you first realize your passion or your interest? And I think you're perhaps telling us that the beauty of nature is what got you into at least in some direction toward it. How did you move specifically to this type of sculpturing in land or hardscaping in nature?
So the sculpture grew about. I was always creative. I always had notebooks and drawing books. I was always writing, stories and poetry and drawings.
May I ask were your either one of your parents also gifted in that regard, or was it strictly you the only talented in this realm with regard to art, poetry, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, they have their own talents and all that, but I'm the only one in my immediate family who's really artistically oriented.
Okay, great. Well, lucky you. So go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt, but a couple of folks that we've had before usually say there's some member of their family that also kind of not forced them into it, but they admired them and their work, and that's what kind of pushed them a little bit of themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I had an aunt who didn't live with us, who was a sculptor actually. Now that you mention it, and I have other family members who's a sculptor in ceramic.
There you
I've got
go.
family members, and I've got other family members who play guitar and play musical instruments, play piano and whatnot. So there's definitely some creativity around me as well.
Well, I'm sure glad I pressed you for that, because
yes, it's good point.
It shows it wasn't just poof out of nature that you sung out the only person around. So I'm glad to hear that there's so much talent in your community itself or your immediate family. So that's great. Anything else you want to tell us about yourself or your passion?
Now we can dive right in.
All right. Before we do, I want to tell you folks, as for those who are familiar with the program, you'll see a little scrolling data down the bottom. That's not something it is to test your eyesight, because I can't read it. But what it is the information of how you can contact our guests. And Devin thought the best way is to go through his website, which of course, why is the reason he has it. And so if you could read it, of course, it's a traditional W cubed, but it's his last name, but a kind of a play on his name, Devine Escapes, with the 2 E's. Don't forget, it's not 1 E. DevineEscapes.com. So it's a real cute title, and but also putting his name in instead of the traditional spelling of Devine. So again, that'll be on throughout the whole program. When we do wrap up, we'll revisit that with Devin and ask him if there's any other places that you all can see his work in addition to the website. So for some people don't want to go to websites or whatever for whatever reason, but they may be more familiar or interested in a different social media platform that he displays some of the stuff. Okay. Well, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and try my best, the old man, to bring up the first picture. Let's see, what have I done wrong already? Here we go. Well, we got Devin up. Let's see. Let me go ahead and get this. All right, let me move. All right, now this, folks, we're hitting with something right off the bat. This is fascinating. We're going to show the full screen of this right now. Just 1 second. Come on, Bob. What's going wrong here? Add the screen. All right, there it is, folks. Wow. Almost like for those who eat soft serve ice cream, it's almost like a giant soft serve. Sorry. Hopefully you'll let my visual delights make things that you might not want. They're not ill intended. I should have told you up front. But tell us about this piece. This is phenomenal.
So first of all, I mean, I welcome any interpretations or other perspectives on my work. If you see something that I didn't intend, that's fine. So this is a 7-foot tall tentacle in stone.
What 7 foot tall? What was the last one? I missed that.
A tentacle, like an octopus, a tentacle.
Oh, tentacle. Okay, sorry. Of course. What is the composition?
So the composition, it's stacked stone. It's Pennsylvania blue stone, which is a commonly used stone for patios. So patios are commonly built out of Pennsylvania blue stone, and I build patios as as part of my work.
Wow. That's fantastic. That's
so
fantastic.
Thank you. So I call this piece Squiggly Noodle.
Yeah. I love titles. A lot of artists don't want to title things, but I don't force you. But if you tell us something like that, I think it's just great. Now, may I ask, where is this placed on? Is this a public installation or a private?
So actually, it's in my workshop currently. For this photo, this was a an art show, like a juried exhibition in North Carolina a few years ago.
I got it. Well, it's lovely though in the look of it, in the outside nature. I think it really looks fantastic, and it's 7 feet. Now, I mean, hopefully I'm not taxing you. What type of tools would you use to take the stone to create such an entity?
So I mean, a bunch of tools from the sculpting world and the construction world. These are leftover scraps of like pieces of flagstone that are maybe too small become a patio, or too small to be a wall stone. It's left.
But for the most part, it would be a manual situation. No automated equipment or anything. Is that correct? It would really be just a typical sculpture with manual tools, right?
Oh, it's absolutely manual. I mean, it's hammers, chisels, saws, grinders.
Fantastic. This is wonderful. All right. Well, see, folks, we're starting with gangbusters here. Now, let me go ahead and get to another one, and we will bring up your second one while we're here. Now this is another one that's placed in a beautiful, beautiful setting. Again, was this one of these showings, or is it someone's residence, or what do we have here? Tell us about it and where it's located.
So it's actually at my house, my old house, a previous residence that we had in the Poconos.
Oh, great.
So yeah, those trees and ferns were my side yard.
And it's it's some sort of vessel, or is it solid, or it's hollow? Or tell us a little bit about that.
Yes. So this one is solid. It does not actually have. It's not a vessel. It's designed, as a vase sculpture.
Sure.
And
it's the same type of stone, or is it something different we're using?
Yeah, good question. So this one's actually a mix. There is Pennsylvania bluestone. The purple looking stone mixed in with that is PA bluestone. There's also some I had a chunk of red stone that was just a specimen that somebody gave me that was from Arizona.
Right. I think we're going to see another in a future picture close up that a little better. My bad eyes, I can see that there are different sizes, but to see the different colorations that you talk about, I think we're going to see a little later a close up of it, so it'd be a lot more obvious to most of the viewers. And about how tall would this be? About 4 feet, or?
No, this is a miniature one. This one's about 15 inches.
Really?
So it's so it's solid stone, but it's light. You can pick it up.
Oh my goodness. It's really deceptive.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I've been told that before, that people assumed it was giant based on this photo, but yeah, it's not even knee high.
Wow, especially coming from the first one, I didn't think this one was near as tall, but certainly maybe half the height, So, but it's fabulous looking, and like I said, the setting couldn't be any prettier. Anything else you want to say about this particular thing before we move to the next one?
No, just that that I do build stone vases like this that actually are intended as vases.
Okay, good, very good.
But at that size, at 15 inches, that's pretty small. So you can have maybe a flower, not much. So that's why this one's not an actual vessel.
I think, and that was kind of where I was going, because today so many people are looking. They go to the typical store, gardening store, and get different size pots for their plants for outside around their patio and all. So this would be magnificent. If it would be larger and to accommodate some type of plant or planting. So. Great. I'm glad to hear you clarify that. Okay, now let's go ahead and move on to another. Let's see what we got here. This is a close-up of another. This is beautiful. Tell us about this.
Okay, so this photo was taken at a place called Stonehenge Gardens. Hedge without the.
I was about to say Stonehenge.
Yeah, so it's like Stonehenge over in the UK.
Right.
Has an N.
Right.
This is hedge, like a hedge, like a shrub or something.
And this is in Pennsylvania or somewhere else?
It is in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
It's in Tamaqua, Pennsylvania. It's it's a publicly open space, and I've displayed my work there. A few of my pieces over the years. This one actually is a planting vessel. It's waist high, so it's a little bit over 2 feet tall.
Right.
And I don't know if you can see in the picture, there is a little bit of greenery and some pink flowers planted in it.
With my bad eyes, I can see it dripping over or coming out of the top and a little bit on the left, but I wouldn't have known that. I would have thought it was just some of the background foliage that blended in until you cleaned it. So this is great. So here's exactly what we were talking about with the earlier one. And you said this would be about how tall? Would you estimate?
2.5 or 3 feet.
Excellent. And the stone looks pretty much like the same stone all throughout on this one. Is that right or no?
This is it's 2 different colors.
Okay.
But there's a lighter blue Pennsylvania bluestone and a darker purple.
And a darker, right? I thought it was shading, but it is actually two different shades of the color, not lighting shading. I see. Excellent. Well, this is fantastic. All right, we're really moving along here. Let me go on to our next one. Oh, here's a beauty. This shape is really nice, and it's very common, like I say, in the stoneware vessels that I've seen, especially in gardens or even on chimeras. I mean, they're making chimeras out of some kind of avocado or whatever that they have form in this shape, so the funnel will allow the smoke and all to go up. But tell us a little bit about this. Is this a solid or a hollow piece?
So this one this one's actually is 4 feet tall.
Good.
So it's plenty big enough to be used as a vessel. But this was actually a commissioned piece. And it's currently on the photo here was taken at my workshop, but after that I loaded it on my truck and we delivered it to Arkansas. It's actually the Matilda Pfeiffer Museum.
Oh, how nice.
So she's the I don't know the exact relation. I'm going to get it wrong, but she was like the somehow related to Hemingway. Like there's a Hemingway.
Oh my goodness, somehow related.
Well, she was
wow.
like related to one of his wives or something. She's like
I understand.
A step-in-law something.
So let me just answer, not that there's anything wrong with the vessel as it is or used for planning, but I'm also thinking, especially because I do a lot of work in our yard with regard to creating a fountain. If you were commissioning this for someone, you could install a place for them to put piping, a hole or something in a certain area they would want, so they could actually create a fountain of it. Is that right?
Yeah, these all of them. Yeah, this could definitely be modified into a fountain.
I think it would be a beauty. I really do. I think it would.
Yeah, people say that to me sometimes when they see this and other pieces and say, "Hey, why don't you build this as a fountain?" But so far, nobody.
Well, long as go ahead.
I was just saying so far.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just saying so far, none of my paying customers, nobody was actually commissioning it.
Right.
Said, "Hey, let's make it a fountain."
What maybe you might want to do is in some of your posts or however you market it, you might also say that several of our pieces, because it's customized, are adaptable, like for fountains. Just give examples, because what I'm saying is some people won't even ask because they're afraid. Oh no, this is the piece. You can't do anything with it. But if you're customizing it, here would be the chance for someone to get those type of modifications to make a piece much more not only beautiful but also functional for their garden or wherever they want to place it, even in the house, if they could create the fountain as such. So anyway, you might want to think about somehow adding that to your repertoire, your portfolio, that many of these could, whichever ones, if someone wanted to make a fountain of it, you would certainly make that customization when you're actually constructing or sculpting it. Okay.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's a great idea. That's on the agenda.
I thought of that, right? I thought of that immediately when I saw this one. Oh, I wonder if this is I didn't see any water coming out, so I kind of figured, well, no, it's not. But wouldn't this be a magnificent fountain? Fountain, because I'm always looking at some of the fountains that we do, like I say, in our backyard. Very, very nice. So that's great. And that's like similar, looks like the same stone we're talking about before, the Pennsylvania stone. Is that right?
This is, once again, Pennsylvania blue stone. I don't know if you can see in the photo, on this particular photo, but it has a color gradient. Like it starts out as purple,
right,
and it fades to green, and then it fades to blue.
So there are three different. I can see. I can't tell those colors, but I can see the variance. When it goes from one to another, I can see that striation. So that's beautiful. So it must be magnificent in full view. Then a personal one-on-one seeing it. Okay, well, let's move on because I think we got a nice selection to show everyone. That's the key here, is moving on. This is really cool. This is like the globe of the universe. What we got here? Not the universe, but certainly the globe. One of our planets. What do we have here?
Yeah, so this is a stacked stone sphere. Is what I usually call it, or I sometimes call it a lithidelic sphere. Like litha meaning stone.
Wow. I've never heard that word.
Stone and yeah, well, it's a word of my. I think I made it up.
Oh, you coined it?
Yes, I think so.
Congratulations! Now, once again, is it hollow core or solid, and height about?
So this one is 4 feet tall, and it is solid stone. This is the third, I believe. Yeah, this is the third sphere that I built. At approximately similar sizes, and it's solid stone all the way through. once again, it's mostly Pennsylvania bluestone, but there are a couple of highlights here and there
Sure.
of some other stone types locally. Like I brought in some yellow and brought in some white to bring in a little bit more visual interest and movement.
And presumably it's flat on the bottom. That's why it's sitting so sturdy on the surface. Is that right?
True. So it's a truncated sphere. It's got like
Yeah.
18-inch flat spot, so I can sit
Well,
still.
Even with its weight, you don't want it rolling off.
No, that you'd be chasing it down the road for a while.
That would be an interesting sight, but an unpleasant experience, I'm sure.
Yeah.
All right,
so.
let's move on. Here's the one I was alluding to, and I don't know if it's the same one as that, where we can a nice close-up of how the stones are cut and also the different striations in color. So tell us again about this. Is this from that same sphere or a similar sphere?
Yeah, similar one. This was a private commission in up in the Poconos, up in this area. I believe this is the 6th sphere that I built.
Wow.
And zooming in, this is a close-up. You can see a bunch of Pennsylvania bluestone again, but the red is
yes.
The red line is it actually terminates in red slate.
Oh, wow.
So but as it goes to the right, I have a color gradient there again, so it like fades from red to orange, and like on the other side that same band of color actually becomes yellow. So it fades from red to orange to yellow.
I wish you would be able to provide us with, not panorama, but certainly 2 or 3 other shots going circular in to show that striation or that variation of the color, because this red is just beautiful. And may I ask, like, not the immediate bluestone underneath, but the next row, is that, am I seeing a purple lineage there, or is that just my eyes?
Good catch. Yeah, 2 rows down from the red, there's another band that's it's purple slate.
Wow.
And that one, likewise, it becomes the purple band.
Yeah.
I don't have the photos, but like it transforms to a different color on the other side, like it goes from purple.
So just like the goes to different colorations as it circumvents the sphere, is that right?
Yeah.
Cool. And that's slate, so you get access to slate too as well.
Yeah. So the slate is reclaimed from back in the 60s and 70s in Pennsylvania, they were building a lot of patios out of slate. Nowadays more people are building with Pennsylvania bluestone and other flagstones, but slate flagstone was popular 30 years ago. So every once in a while I come across a specimen, a couple pieces, and I squirrel them away till I have a good project to bring in a little bit of color.
How ingenious of you. That is fantastic. There's nothing, everyone wants to repurpose things today, especially, and you couldn't do a better job of that with regard to breaking up. So not that it's monotonous, but to have that additional striation, that circle, and especially going in multiple colors, it's got to be a truly dynamic piece when you see the whole thing, and you can actually walk your way around it, to see the variations in the color thing. Really, really nice. Folks, we're talking to Devin Devine, I'll get it, of DevineEscapes.com. If you notice, it's on the scrolling thing, spelled with Devine. That's his last name, so that's why he's capitalizing on it. And he is, I've been calling him a landscape sculptor. He might have coined a better term for himself. And you'll see after we finish some of these obviously magnificent pieces, I'll actually show you what he does either in his off time or he's evolved to or going to with regard to some of his art. Don't forget, folks, if you're watching us on any of the platforms you're watching us, you can, unless it's not live, and you wouldn't be seeing it if it wouldn't be on live, but you can make a comment. We'd love to hear from you. It'll post here on our screens, and we'll bring it on to full screen, and then post your question to the artist if that's what you're asking about, or just tell us along, make a comment about how magnificent some of these pieces are, because I know the artist would be simply enthralled to hear people and I'm sure he gets it all the time. But it's always good to hear a little praise, especially when you put this kind of hard work. Would you say? Let me ask you one thing, and I know you can't answer this definitively with regard to every piece, but a piece this size, you said this one would be about a approximately 4 foot high circle or sphere or something around that. Is that right?
So yeah, this particular one was a little bit smaller. It might be more like 3.5 feet.
Okay, sure, but close enough as opposed to the 15 inches or the 7
Yes.
feet. What would you think it takes you? I know you don't have a time clock and you might come and go to it, but what would you think it took you in total time if you could visualize that in creating such a piece?
So the actual building is usually 3 or 4 weeks.
Really? That quickly?
Yeah, but mind you, every single stone has been carved ahead of time.
Right.
Okay, so there's been about a week of preliminary work, which I kind of do at my leisure over a course of months. But I'll put in about 40 hours worth of preliminary carving. And then when I'm arranging the sphere, it takes maybe 3. There's a little bit of carving will happen on the spot when I'm building it, but I've done like a good half of that. So all total it might be 5 weeks.
I got it. Oh, that's phenomenal for such a piece. And I have to ask a really dumb question. How are these pieces adhering to each other or to the core?
So that's a great question. The first the first couple of globes or spheres that I built dry, and they were just held together by their own gravity.
Own gravity. Wow.
Absolutely. And even the tentacle, the first one that you showed, that has cement well hidden. But I built it dry first to make sure it would stand. So there's cement in it, but it doesn't, it would at least stand briefly without the cement,
Right. Yeah. Of course. But so you using traditional type cement or something totally unique to your project? So what?
Ordinary modern Portland cement.
Wow, that is fantastic. That is fantastic. Were you going to say something else about? I didn't mean again to interrupt, but all these questions come in my mind when I study a piece.
Just to say that the first couple I built dry to prove it was possible, and sphere number 2 is the second one I built is 5 foot tall, and it's still standing. 10 years later.
Wow.
And it's. But later on, that's in a private residence way in somebody's backyard but most people do want, they want to be protected from happenstance or vandalism.
Sure. Of course.
So because of that,
go ahead.
Yeah. So because of that, I will use cement or glue or whatever I need to do to make it permanent. That's all.
All right. Now, this next one, folks, this one threw me for a loop. When I said, did he really do this? This looks like, and right away, I'm not a real animal aficionado, which won't sit well with the audience, but I've seen these things and I've had to ask people what they are, at least the shape, not this particular thing. And people told me, you don't know, that's for cats. I said, cats? Oh, yeah, they climb, they sit. I said, okay, all right. Anyway, I was lost. But tell me, is this anything to do with cats, or is it
absolutely.
Really?
Yeah. So, I was driving down the road and I saw a storm fallen cedar tree.
Okay, so this has
fallen. I'm sorry.
That's what I was gonna. Well, that's the first thing I was against. I know the base might be some type of stone, but the piece itself looked like it actually was either quite a resemblance to wood, or was actually wood. So this was a natural cypress tree or piece of a cypress tree. Is that correct?
Correct. So the branching shape, nature did that. I just collected the tree and took out my chainsaw and cut off the parts I didn't need. And then I just, made my notches, did whatever I needed to do to make it so my stone platforms, my pieces of flagstone could be inserted and make them as platforms for the cats. I'm out.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, I made other cat trees. Usually I make them with a wooden platform, actual wooden platforms and natural branches. This is the only one I ever did with mixing stone and the cedar.
Well, again, not being the animal lover, I saw this additionally as, and this is what I would use it for, putting it outside or presumably outside of your patio and using it for a combination of plants and cocktails. There's no reason why chairs on the side of it, person couldn't set their cocktail. It would be a phenomenally functional and artistic conveyance or vessel. So I think it's good. Again, I'm glad you made it for the purpose that people told me about, but I would certainly not. I would have used it for something, either put other sculptures on it, flowers, and/or cocktails. But anyway, whatever that's worth.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you about that. And I did used to have like knickknacks and other art displays
okay.
for a while.
Yeah, even people's treasured paintings, like photographs of their family or themselves on a little easel or on a stand. I think that would be a great display case for it. And again, the ones that I saw that are commercially available, I don't know if they're made out of plastic, but they're not pretty pieces. That's what I say. This I thought you had made out of stone, which made it even more miraculous because it did resemble wood so much. I'm glad to hear it is the natural wood, but it just makes it a lot more aesthetic in my eyes than to use some other type of commercial substance where it looks, and it's just too straight and too manufactured. This definitely looks customized, which I think is delightful. All right, let's go on because we're moving right along here. Now we're going to see, I know people are going to appreciate this. Tell us what we're looking at here.
So this is a dry stone wall with dry stone steps. This was it was a few years ago, maybe 2008. A customer, called me with they had a dry stone wall that had collapsed, a real old wall that wasn't,
Sure.
It was real old and maybe wasn't built great to begin with. And he wanted some steps also. There weren't originally steps. So, I really looked at the land. I spent a while and I came in there. I just showed up with, some extra stone and the stone that was already there and just worked with the land, trying to figure out how to shape things in a way that worked with the way the land already was shaped. And I came up with a curvy structure. I don't think there's a straight line anywhere on the entire project.
Neat. And again, people just say, "Oh, that I could get that at one of the stones." I mean, one of the I don't want to give away a name, commercial name, but something where you have land sculpt, where they sell stone and stuff. And true, you can, but usually they normally resemble us. They just look like they're manufactured. They just look very traditional, and not traditional in the good sense, but just like commonplace. This to me, with the addition of the curves and all, just really looks very, very attractive. I mean, I was amazed how you could take something as simple as doing, even though it might not be simple in construction, and turn it both into a functional piece of art. That's what I'm seeing, and especially in the forest, the wooded scenario, it's just perfect for in there. So folks, we're trying to show you some of the variety that he's doing. He's not only doing aesthetic stuff, sculptures for your gardens or even inside, but he's also doing things that will enhance your outdoor living, whether it's attached to a deck or a patio, or whether it's strictly, if you're fortunate enough to have some land that people are walking around. These are the kind of things that just add another dimension to your garden or to the hill or to the wood, even if they don't serve a phenomenal purpose. That's why I'm saying it's as aesthetic as functional. Anything else you want to say on this? Because I know I'm doing all the talking on this one.
No, I don't have anything else to add, really.
All right. I said too much. I'm sorry. Let's go on. All right. Oh, here's an adjunct of what we just saw, but even more exotic. Tell us how this retaining wall or whatever it is, it has steps in. I can't with my bad eyes, unfortunately, see the 2 points going together, whether those are steps or there's something else in that area.
So yeah, you got it right. It is a retaining wall and steps, and there's a patio.
Yeah, I think Yeah, I think we're gonna. I wanted to show you, which you did as well, the patio, the floorscape as well, because I think we have a close up of that. So again, that's correct. You didn't just do the retaining wall, the steps. You also did the flooring of the patio or whatever this is called. Is that right?
Correct.
And what type?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
you're asking what type of stone? So
Well,
the patio.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and bring up. I'm hoping it's in the next photo so people can see it. Not that I want to start change. No, let me move forward to our file. Here we go. I got it. And I believe this is the similar, if not the same stone that was used in the previous picture for the flooring. Is that right or no?
Yeah, actually, both both are Pennsylvania bluestone.
Wait a minute. This is Pennsylvania bluestone too.
This is the same thing that I'm building the vases and tentacle and spheres out of. Yes.
I haven't seen any of the ones so far in the sculptures that were this light. Like if you look at the middle side, I mean, I see the lovely pinkish and the blues and the other, but these one or two large pieces that come off this branch or this whatever, tributary, whatever you're calling this, they're so light they almost look like marble with very light striation. So that is still shows you the variance that you can do with the same stone. That is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, Pennsylvania bluestone does come in different tones, and it's been a big part of what I do. Is
go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was saying it's been a big part of what I do. Just playing with the colors and arrangements of the stone.
But you're not actually treating this with anything to make that color either fading or changing, right? Or are you? Or is it strictly natural that you're seeing the differences and realizing the placement of the pieces? What
to
do
be
you
fair,
do?
Well, to be fair, I believe this photo was taken when the patio was wet, so you might be seeing a little bit more glare, making it look lighter than it is.
But overall, you don't normally treat like bleach any of the stones or do any type of adjustment to the stone itself other than clean it. Is that and cut it? Is that right?
Well, it depends on the project. For example, with the tentacle, the first one you showed,
right.
The main body of the tentacle is purple stone that has a rock face, a rock texture. But then there's the white eyes. The eyes are the whites of the eyes are actually blue stone that has been sanded. There's different. I can use sculpture techniques to bring out different colors. I usually don't do it in a patio. But for a lot of my sculptures, I'll sand or polish.
Yeah, well, just like you polish a gemstone and it changes. But you're not. What I'm saying is you're not treating it with any type of liquid or any paint. Something like say, I'm using the word acid, but that's a terrible term. So it's strictly fine tuning the existing element to either bring on shine or carry variation of the colors, and then sculpting it to the shape that you would need if necessary. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I don't use any paint or any stain. It's like you said, it's all just different textures.
Well, I'm just trying to show people how talented you are, and maybe you don't want to go into that, but so it's not, I mean, today, of course, there's so many chemicals that you can use to treat things to, develop different colorizations and stuff. But I wanted to show that you're au natural here with the one they're doing. Now, the next one I'm about ready to bring up is going to be really exciting. And not everything in this photo will be what Devin has done. So be prepared and he'll tell us. Go ahead, Devin. What do we have going on here?
What we have here, an interdimensional Stargate. And, it's a portal, it draws forth different, otherworldly and interdimensional entities. Such as the strange red-eyed, furry, talking woodland creature that manifested on the day I took this photo.
Now, I have to ask, did you do the creature? No, huh?
So the creature, it was, commercial, it's
okay, that's right. Yeah, right. That's something.
But I did modify the. So I modified the creature. I modified the electronics so it makes funny noises, like you came originally talking. but I modified it so it makes more ambient or psychedelic
Sure,
noises.
I got it to be more appropriate to what you're doing, but it's not like you created this from scratch like your other. But the art you certainly did, and I'm amazed how you're able to keep this art from not falling, even with cement. Did you have to maybe use curved rebar or some kind of metal reinforcement to achieve this arch and maintain its posture?
No, so the arch itself, the main body of the arch is a single piece of stone.
Wow.
And I drilled a bunch of holes on either side of it. You can actually maybe see the perforations, but I drilled holes in order to split it. And then, and I split it out as one big piece. And there's a white piece of marble as the eye, and then a black piece of basalt, like volcanic rock, that I carved into a peg. And that peg connects the white stone to the main arch stone. So the only thing that I did here, it's just 3 stones: a white stone, a black stone, and a purple arch stone. No glue, no cement, no rebar.
But you did do the arch.
I did do the arch, and like I said, the white eye is basically like
that's
a stone
right.
dowel.
That's the decorative addition to it. But I'm saying, which I understand you did as well with those elements you just described. But I'm fascinated by the arch. Let me ask this: about how tall is the arch at the center point?
I would love to tell you it was 15 feet tall, but this was just a miniature.
Oh,
this is a mini. Sorry,
you ruined my illusion. I mean, it's magnificent, especially even to hold it up in a smaller shape. But I was thinking this was almost life size, the arch. I'm saying, what a magnificent piece of construction and engineering. Take away your glory, but it was just, it's still a magnificent piece. And I love the way you put a lot of the humor as well as the contemporary interest of items today together. And I think was this done for someone else or just playfulness in your own factory or home?
Yeah, this is just playfulness in my own yard. This is my yard in the Poconos.
No problem. Really, really interesting. So it really breaks it up. Now we're back to the serious stuff, and this is a magnificent egg shape. It's not a Fabergé, but it's really well done. Tell us a little bit about this one, and again, height and solidity and stuff like that, and composition.
So this is another one that's approximately 4 feet tall. This is a recent commission, and this similar with the one vase I showed that you showed earlier. There's a color gradient. And I mean, I finished this one a week ago, so unfortunately, I wish I'd sent you a better photo that would show off the color gradient, because I got the color gradient good this time. But it's purple in the bottom half and then fades to blue. Like the middle section is indigo. It's purple, then indigo, then blue at the top.
Okay. I'm going to move along because I'm looking at the thing. We only have like 17 minutes. We haven't got to the art. This is like the dividing piece where we are moving away from sculpture, whether it's aesthetic and or functional, to actually some of Devin's artwork. But I am enamored by this piece with regard. I think it's so whimsical, well made, great looking. Again, I feel it's probably small, but hoping it's medium size. Tell us all about this one, because it's such a unique piece of your whole collection.
So this one is small / medium. It's maybe 2 feet tall.
Okay.
The main body consists of 3 pieces of sandstone.
Sandstone. All right.
And it's a quartzitic sandstone. All that white and the orange that you see it's a really hard sandstone. And then I carved into it like an inlay, and there's Pennsylvania bluestone making a couple of striations or bands of darker color.
Right.
And then at the top piece is like a bit of a wire work, like it's twisted up wire with a couple of stone balls, like 3 stone balls at the top of it.
Fascinating. Is sandstone prevalent in that area or no? Just like the blue. I mean, I know the bluestone is more representative of the state, but is sandstone also somewhat familiar to the state?
It is. This stone was quarried about an hour north of me in Scranton,
Okay.
Pennsylvania. And then the bluestone itself was quarried a little bit north of that.
Okay. And I'm really hoping you put a title on this one because it's begging for one. Do you?
Oh,
No.
you can call it Del Titnu.
Oh, okay. I won't remember
It's
that. But
untitled back. It's untitled backwards.
oh, very clever. But it's such a cute little piece, and it's like I say, once again, out of the overall framework of what we've been showing tonight. So that's why I wanted to use it as the bridge. And what we're going to do now is start bringing up the actual artwork because I want to get through some of these as well. There's not as many, but they're just as either colorful or here we go. Let's talk about this. This is great. Tell us what is this made out of? What is the size, the media composition, what kind of stuff? Give us the whole details of this piece.
So the surface is a slice of log. There's actually, it maybe doesn't come out in the photo because it's on a black background, but there is a bit of bark still at the bottom and the top, like framing it, like a little half-inch band of bark. So it's a piece of tree, and then it's painted with egg tempera paint. So it's homemade natural paint where you use egg yolk as the medium. And then the pigment is, iron oxide and natural ochres. So everything here is, it's all from nature.
And I missed, what is it painted on? Is it canvas or something else?
It's a slice of log. It's a tree, piece of a tree.
Wow. And what would you think the dimensions of this would be, the overall?
I'd say it's about 18 inches it's smaller than that. Maybe 12 by 18.
Okay. And how thick would the slice be about, just approximately?
It's about an inch thick piece of wood.
Inch thick. Oh, wow. So it's got some substance to it. Really neat. Any title on this one? And you don't have to create them for this. I just, I know you surprised me when you came up with a title for the original piece. Anything? Do you title any of the artwork too, or just the sculptures?
I do title some of them.
Okay.
This one I never really had a title for.
No problem. But I love the colors. I think the colors and the symbols, it's almost like a microscope to me.
Yes.
But, looking at cells or something, but really attractive. So really nice. So you see, folks, you don't have to have something big or large or something strictly outside. This could certainly, I think you could probably still even hang it, even though it's a piece of wood, and whether it's in your office or your home or put it on a pedestal, but really neat piece. Again, we're talking to Devin Devine of Devine Escapes, and we're showing his alternative and flexibility by going into other than just what his major function has been, and that's the sculpting with a gun. Now, here's one I love. This one, he does a little bit of several black and white, and I got to know if it's charcoal or pencil, he'll tell us, but very kind of deco, so stylized, that's almost representative of the deco period. Tell me more about this, please.
Okay. Well, to me, this, these are, there's 4 different planes that are converging on a central plane,
right.
The geometry there. And to me, both this piece and the last one we looked at are both related to my stonework, because the other one, being similar to my spheres. And this one, the individual panels are like tiles,
Oh, okay.
So this is,
definitely,
to me, this is like a dimensional flagstone pieces, and they're all being drawn into this vortex. Another thing that I would note about it, like each one of the tiles, I like to connect my work with other with other things that I've done. So, for example, a few of the tiles have smaller versions and not detailed versions, but smaller versions of other drawings that I've done. So this is like,
so these are actually tiles. I thought you said they look like tiles, but these are tiles.
Well, yeah, no, they look like tiles. I mean, it's a pencil drawing.
Oh, okay. That's right. I couldn't see that it was 3-dimensional. I even know it has it in the thing. So it's pencil, and what are we drawing on, paper, board, or what?
Yeah, it's just 24 by 18 watercolor paper.
Paper.
I like to draw on a thick, toothy paper.
Really cool. I would love to also see this one as a companion piece in color. I think it would be so dynamic to have both of those side by side, or somewhat similar in a series. You know, because just the dimensions, the geometric shapes are so enticing and intriguing that I think a complementary piece, especially done in color, would just be phenomenal. And I'm not taxing you here, but I'm just telling you how fascinating this piece is to me. So there you go, folks. Let's go on a little bit more because we are down to 10 minutes. My goodness, what are we going so quickly? All right. Oh, wow. This goes back almost to tentacles. It's almost like an octopus or a squid. What do we have here?
So yeah, this was from a few years ago when I was doing simpler compositions that were all based on stripes and circles and whatnot. You know,
And
I guess I mean what's that?
Right. Well, what media are you using here? And what, you know, like, is this pencil still? It looks like different thing. You know, what is it on?
So yeah, that's it's on is art markers, and I'm trying to. I think it might actually be on canvas.
Oh, okay. It does look like that, but I mean, it's hard for me to tell from this point. But yeah, it certainly would look like a representative canvas piece to me. So that's great. Go ahead, tell us a little bit more about it. The inspiration on it.
So it's actually a representation of an entity like that I invented, or from stories of mine, that I call the squirched. It's a very funny word that you can't really pronounce, but they're three tentacled, you know, like mollusks, like three tentacled squid type entities, and they usually have no eye. They're no visible eyes anyway. On this particular occasion, I drew something almost looking like an Egyptian, you know, eye of Horus or something in the middle of the head.
Yes.
But I don't know what else to say about that. It was really just me exploring the colors and the composition of it, you know, and trying to get myself to do simpler things, because I sometimes like to draw, you know.
Now remind me when we wrap up to talk more about where people can see this in addition, and if any of these things are for sale. Don't worry about it right now. We'll do it as part of the recap, which is hopefully coming up very soon. Because let's move forward. Because like I said, I want to go ahead and get through the full portfolio that you brought. Now here's another dynamic one. This was really magnificent. This really, to me, even throws back to the days of the Renaissance and all. It's more like a fabulous tapestry you'd see in not Versailles, but in that type of French kind of classical thing. Tell us what we have here.
So yeah, I mean, it's I drew a bunch of circles. It's just a whole bunch of little dots swirling around and making different patterns. You know, it's like an eye mandala with bubbles swirling around it. And I divided the background around the eye, the central eye, into I don't know how many panels, like 9 different panels, and then filled each panel with dots swirling around. You know, I don't have anything anything really symbolic to say about it other than that. You know, an eye mandala is just what I call it.
I'm going to ask you a private question after the fact, but I just wanted to elaborate on this piece because it's so not only dramatic, but so pulling the viewer in. That eye is just, it's sucking you in, almost like the mollusk on the previous thing would suck its prey. It's got that same dynamism where your eyes are just intricately involved with the eye on the center of the painting. And this is done in pencil or what?
It's actually done in ink.
Ink on paper?
It's ink on paper. And I mean, this is what I'm trying to do with the stone. I want to get my stone work to be as complicated and dynamic as I can do with drawing. Drawing is a little bit quicker and easier. And here, it's a sphere with swirling lines on it. That's directly related to the things that I build.
We got to go a little quicker. So these, I think
I get it.
This is. Tell us what this is relatively quickly. Hello? Oh my goodness, we lost him. Oh no, what happened? Did I? You back, I hope?
Hey, sorry, I got kicked off for a minute, but I'm back.
Good. Sorry about that. I don't know if I did that. That's my bad eyes. I apologize if I did that, but welcome back. So anyway, real quick on this one, because we want to see the last one and wrap up because we're down to like 5 minutes of the program. So what, nutshell, what are we looking at here? I won't say what I think it is. So go ahead and tell us what you think it is or what you know it is.
I mean, it's the same thing as the spheres that I built out of stone. It's just drawn. And I've got some some fish and maybe some tentacled entities moving, melting into the sphere, coming out of it. On the bottom right, there's an eye with 3 tentacles, so another tentacled eye entity.
Understand. Okay, now we're going again to, I think this might be the last one, a real deviation, full color after all that black and white, and just very playful. I don't know, just a mythical creature, bad fairy tale. What do we have here?
So there was a kid's story called "Where the Wild Things Are."
I think I heard of it.
Yeah, it's famous. They made a movie of it a couple years ago. I don't want to get the guy's name wrong. It was Maurice something. But this is one of the characters from that story. It's a kid's story. It's a fantasy story, and there's these monsters that look scary, but they're not actually scary.
Okay.
And here I have him. Since he had horns. It reminded me of the Native American, the Mesoamerican Kokopelli thing. Oh, so that's why I had him playing the flute.
We gotta shorten our description. I know we're not doing much service to you. I'm sorry, but I thought that was the last one. I think we have 2 or 3 more. So let's this magnificent starfish or whatever this is. Tell us what it is real quick, if there is something.
So this is a hendecagrammatical mandala. A hendecagram is an 11-pointed star.
All right.
So since we're going quick, all I'll say is with all the different panels surrounding the central star are all mythological or tarot cards, all mythological entities and things.
We have a good friend. We have a good friend, Robin Denham, who's a tarot and psychic who would do shows with us, talk to the tarot. With your permission, I'm gonna send her this just to see it, if you don't mind. Anyway, let's move on to it. She'll get a real good kick out of it. We'll like it a lot. Now, this one is an intriguing female.
Yeah, definitely.
Go ahead.
And by the way, the one we just passed actually does have a name. I call that one the Outer Gateway.
Okay.
This one is the name is Solve, as in dissolve, Latin for dissolve.
Yes.
And that shows. So she's experiencing like ego disintegration.
And quickly, what's it on? Paper, canvas, and what's the instrument? Pencil, charcoal. What we got?
Yeah, paper and pencil.
Okay. All right. I've got to move along. I'm terribly sorry, but we've done a great job. All right. Now here we go back with color. My favorite, and having color. This one we're not going to do as much justice as we should. But go ahead and tell us whatever we can about this. So
this is it's another hendecagrammatical thing. There's an 11-pointed star. This one has it's getting mythological and tarot. There's the brought into it. And within the so inside of the the hendecagram, there's an octopus entity. Cthulhu. From the fictitious writings of Howard Lovecraft.
Go ahead.
Within the tentacles, there's a scene where you can see the Nordic tree of life, Yggdrasil from Viking mythology, and then it's the tree of life. There's a dragon sleeping amongst its roots, and an eagle up in its upper branches, and a squirrel in its mid branches. Okay, and what do we tell us quickly about the saying? How I must become the spark. Is that something? Oh, no. Is that a quote that I'm not familiar with or something? What is that? Yeah, so this actually was part of an illustrated poem that I wrote. And the line was, the rules. Okay, wait. The verse was, all of nature is reborn in fire. and then the rules all of a sudden change, and I must become the spark. I'm butchering it, but it was something like that.
Well, since we don't have time, if you can recreate it in a text and send it to me, I will publish it on Facebook and my platforms along with the painting to go with it. I would love to do that so people would get a better understanding of it, since we're shortchanging it here at the end of the show. Okay, is that all right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, let's go ahead and go to. I think we have one more. I keep saying one more. It turns out to be more than one more.
Hi, Ruth.
No, that's the last one. For some reason, I thought I had another one, but I apologize for having to skip through the last few. So let's just go back to us. All right, folks, this was a fascinating show. We're running over a little bit, so stick with us if you don't mind, because the artist certainly deserves your attention. We're talking and have been talking and listening to Devin Devine of Pennsylvania. He's a sculptural landscaper, I guess, as well as an artist itself. Devin, as we've shown all through the show, people can contact you or see your work on Devine Escapes, DevineEscapes.com. Are there any other places that you show online, either some of your work, whether it's one or the other or both that we've talked about?
Yes. So for the stone work and the landscape sculpture, you'll find that on DevineEscapes.com. Also, Devine Escapes YouTube. It's just called Devine Escapes.
Okay.
And also you can find Devine Escapes on Facebook. For some of the other art, I have another website that is devindevine.net. So DevinDevine.
So your full name .net. And that would be mainly the art. Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's mostly drawings, poetry, things like that. Okay. Things that are not stone related.
Now, may I ask? Well, two things. Of course, let's go to the sculpture. Even though you're in Pennsylvania, you're not opposed to travel. If a customer anywhere would be interested in procuring your services, you would certainly work out negotiations for you to actually create something, and either on site, probably if it's a large piece, as opposed to just shipping. Is that correct?
Certainly, and both. One of the photos that you showed was of a hardscape that I built in San Francisco.
Okay.
So, I have traveled to build on site, and the one tall vase. Like I said, I delivered that to a museum in Arkansas. So I deliver medium and large pieces sometimes, and definitely build on site. If a project's interesting to me, I'll travel. Sure. This is what I do. This is what I love.
Now, what about your art? Is your art? I'm not saying every one of the pieces we show today, but is your art generally for sale or just for your own appreciation?
I would sell pieces. There hasn't been.
You said you would or would not?
Oh, I would.
Oh, okay.
I would absolutely, especially. I don't particularly go out of my way to market them as for sale. And there's been more interest in my stone work. I've had more luck and success with stone work. I love drawing, so I wouldn't rule it out in the future that I might take more commissions for that type of stuff. We'll see.
Well, one of your fans has made a comment. Hopefully she doesn't mind us showing it. Ruth Ann Welch-Mead, I believe. And she not only says hello to you and what awesome work, but she's saying, Where the Wild Things Are was one of her favorite books. Great job on that piece. So there you go. So she recognized that piece because it was obviously one of her favorite books. Well, that's nice of her to go ahead and tell us that. I appreciate that, and I'm sure you do as well, huh?
Definitely. Thank you, Ruth.
Very good. Very good. Well, we do appreciate you bringing the comment and watching the program. And please, Ruth, don't be a stranger to our other shows. We have 15 other categories. I'm going to do a self-promotion. Go to YouTube, Revue. Look at this ugly mug with a pretty red shirt and a Virgin Mary in the hand. Click on it, and if you don't mind subscribing, that way you'll be notified in advance of all the artist programs, our chef programs, all the things. Like I said, we have 15 categories of similar type live shows. So perhaps you'll become interested in not only your fan here, I mean your artist here that you're a fan of, but you'll develop some others and go back and see our archives. We've been doing the artist shows since 2000 and I think 7 or 8. So there's a lot of old as well as new shows around the world since we're now global. All right. Anything else you want to tell the folks? We've run a little bit over, but it's been well worth it because you've been kind enough to provide an excellent narration and some beautiful pieces of work. So anything else you want to tell the folk?
Yeah, I mean, go to the website. I do a lot of things with stone, more things even than we've gone into. I'm making stone furniture and garden decor.
Wow.
Like I make, so I do more functional pieces beyond what we've seen so far. Also have a look at my blog. I write a lot of DIY articles on this and, teaching people some of the behind the scenes and some of what I do.
All right.
Devine Escapes.
Well, we really appreciate you coming on this evening and spending time with us. Like I said, I do need to talk to you off-site if you don't mind, maybe not now at another convenient time, about some of your work. There's some more questions I have about it, not necessarily for public consumption. So please stay in touch. If you don't hear from me the next day or so, just send me a note so we can chit-chat about some of the things I have questions on, okay?
I will do that, Bob. It's been great talking with you. I've had a lot of fun.
You're a delight, and I can say I'm sorry if we had that little technical glitch. If I did that, I do apologize. But I'm old and visually impaired, so you got to appreciate it's a lot for an old person to do. I'm used to being in front of the camera at a TV station where we have all these people that do all the work. Doing it DIY is just not my cup of tea.
Okay,
anyway,
I understand.
Thanks again. Lots of luck, continued success to you. And like I said, we'll be talking with you shortly later this week. All right?
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Good evening. Okay. Good night.
Good night.
Okay, folks. Well, we went a little longer. We really appreciate one of our viewers contacting and asking that lovely question of Devin and really praising his work. That's the key. So be on the lookout. If you need more information, like I said, contact him to do that, or you can contact me because some of the information I'm going to be speaking to might be some of the stuff that you might be interested, especially if you're looking to procure something. So until next time, we're going to go sign off. This is your old faithful Bob Bockelman. And as we say here on the station, stay tuned and longer. Have a good week, folks. Take care.